I'm here this afternoon with Pastor Steve Branson of Village Parkway Baptist Church, and I didn't forget your name, like at the conference when I went up and could not remember. Thank you so much for giving me some more of your time this afternoon. You just returned from Texas Values, the Texas Response Conference up in Allen, Texas. Tell us about it.
It was a good time. Representative Sanford was there. He's the one who authored the new pastor protection bill. And so we got to hear the ins and outs of all that was involved in the legislature process. Mm-hmm. And then Jonathan Sines also was there speaking along with Kelly Shackelford. And so they were giving the people who attended that meeting the ins and outs of what's been going on. The one good thing I picked up out of it was that the passing of that bill was greatly helped by the fact that they had so many pastors show up in Austin. Probably the largest group they've ever had show up for anything.
That is important.
And it impacted both the House and the Senate, the large numbers that came. And so the pastors getting involved this time helped pass. That was one of the few bills that did pass. But it does provide some protection to churches and to pastors in these coming days, especially in the area of marriage.
Do you think in the coming legislative session there'll be some additional bills that will help reinforce that? Are there some needed, or?
According to Sanford and others that were there, a couple other state legislatures, there's a lot of things being worked on. They didn't tip the hand on too much right now, but they said there'd be much more coming down the pipe.
Very good, very good. Well, you said something interesting, the fact that it made such an impact with all the pastors coming together at the Capitol. Now, you've been involved here in San Antonio with some other pastors as well in bringing together the church body, the different churches and all. Share some of what has happened as a result of the churches coming together.
Okay, well, about 2 years ago is when the NDO, non-discrimination ordinance, was put forth here in San Antonio. At that time, none of the churches were really tied together in any way except denominational.
Yes.
And that was about it. You hung around with your guys and your group, and that was about all there was to what happened here in San Antonio. Very little fellowship outside, just Baptist among Baptists, Methodist among Methodists. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the independents had built some relationships, but it was just that way. But when NDO happened, it began building some relationships, and we have worked on that now for 2 solid years.
So even after y'all you had your success there, y'all have continued to stay together.
Well, we lost the NDO battle. We lost it badly. Mm-hmm. The city passed a non-discrimination ordinance. We did a couple other things to try to stop it. We were not very successful because there were such overwhelming odds at the time. But we decided it was not to disband, but to keep plugging along and keep fighting. And so we have been working for 2 years now. There are about 4 or 5 different groups that are, and we're all kind of tied together in different ways. There's, of course, Black, White, Brown. There's a group called SALSA, our Responsible Government Coalition, another one. There's some independent other groups that have been meeting. There's Christian family groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's just been a lot of different groups, but we've now all tied together, and we've just been working, and we're trying to find candidates to run for office. But then this mayor's election came up. We really didn't intend to get involved, but then Ivy Taylor became somebody that we found that we could work with. Mm-hmm. And so the church started meeting among a bunch of us. And I hosted a meeting back last May with over 120 pastors from around the city. We met with Ivy Taylor.
Wonderful.
And we worked with her. And we began to campaign for her. We went back to churches, said she would be the best candidate. She thinks like we do. She visited churches. She even came by and visited my church one Sunday morning. And people had a chance to visit with her and talk with her, get to know her. And so that happened all around the city. And when it came time for election, Ivy only spent $100,000 on advertising. Her other candidate spent over $700,000.
Whoa!
Plus had the endorsement of the police union, the fire union.
Wow.
Had the Express News endorsement. Express News endorsement had been vilifying Ivy Taylor, so a lot of negative press. Wow. The 3 local stations seemed to be on the other lady's support, not Ivy's. So mm-hmm. Ivy had everything working against her. But when it came down to vote, she won by 4 or 5%, caught the city of San Antonio off guard. They didn't see this coming, never anticipated it. And we've since learned that there are about 30,000 new evangelical voters, mainly Protestant voters, is what we're finding out, who got involved probably for the first time ever. And so we know where this came from. It came from all the churches being involved. a pastor stepping up to the plate. And it's having a quiet impact right now in our city, and for some good. We're seeing with the election of Ivy Taylor some things. It's still got a long way to go, but we're seeing
Sure.
some good things begin to unfold.
So are y'all looking now at, she's the mayor, so are you looking at the council people's position and to elect and put people into those?
It is being worked on right now to put a pastoral prayer group with each city council person.
Ah, very
That is
interesting.
being worked on right now. There's some of them already in place. One of our pastors is handling all of that. We are recruiting a couple of candidates, and we have a group called Joshua Initiative led by Joe Cadell. He'll even do some training of candidates, some support. So there's different things that are quietly taking place. And we're looking at two things. Our group is here in San Antonio. One is city council next time,
Right.
and then give Mayor Ivy Taylor extra support when that
Yes.
time comes around. And second of all, we're now working, and there's several involved, in getting a new Speaker of the House.
Oh, yes, that position happens to be up.
He comes out of the northern part of San Antonio, and there's already a candidate recruited. He's already being trained, getting ready, building support, and there's many a pastor who's going to be quietly stepping in and giving extra support to that. That's still a long way off, but they'll be here quick. So there's a lot of work still going on, and there's quite a few different pastors that will pop in for different meetings off and on just to stay in touch, keep the things going. We'll start a prayer breakfast with the mayor again. We've been doing those. She's going to continue those starting in the fall. So there's just a lot of connections we keep trying to hold to make positive things happen within the city.
So it sounds like the pastors, therefore the churches, are discovering that there is good things to come out of working together
Yes.
to help one another in the city.
Well, I've been saying several times lately that Mayor Castro, who put the NDO in plus some other things, left a legacy of uniting the church in San Antonio stronger than it's ever been united ever. That'll be his legacy that will be known in this city in the years to come. And we'll be grateful for that part of it. We're not grateful for some of the things he did, but he did do that. And when you do bring everybody together, and it's hard to do that, but it's and to say it's perfect, no, but it's working fairly well, and everybody's pretty much on the same page. You have an impact, and you can change things when you do that. And we saw that by the mayor's election.
Yeah.
Literally, she was the last candidate in, had the least amount of money to spend, and she beat somebody who should have been in kind of an incumbent position with great influence and family here in the city. We were able to overturn that. So we now know we can impact and influence in a good way.
That's wonderful. Do you recommend other communities do the same?
If they need changes, they do.
Yeah.
And they can do that.
Yeah. Do you, are y'all...
There's great voting power within the church setting. We don't realize that.
And I think statistically, they say that only 50% of Christians are even registered to vote, and out of that 50%, only 50% of those actually do vote. So 25% of Christians even vote. So they've given up we have given up an awful lot over the years.
If you don't get involved, then this is what happens. The stuff we're seeing happen around our country even now. I've also been saying around the country, we've been for years now in the church waiting for Christ to return and think it's coming at any moment. We read our books on Left Behind, but we woke up now and we've been left behind in the culture because we've kind of hidden from it for about 30, 40 years. So in one sense, we shouldn't be shocked by what's going on right now. When you leave a vacuum, others will step in and fill in, and so all we've done is complain about everything. So what we're beginning to see, and it's not happening just here in San Antonio, it's happening around the country. Houston pastors are really working well in Houston, and
Good.
They even won a major court battle against the mayor, and they're going to have to go back and revisit their vote on the non-discrimination ordinance.
Yeah.
And the mayor's not liking that, from what I understand, but that's okay. And they're just different places we're hearing over and over that the church is starting to step up and organize. And then I'm involved with Family Research Council, Alliance Defending Freedom, and some others. And there's huge pastor responses across the nation, and they're all joining hands in major meetings. And I'll go to one in a couple weeks in Dallas with Tony Perkins and his group, and it's coordinating activity across the board. We're even seeing among some of the presidential candidates that they're coordinating some activity to help the church be stronger in all this. So I think this is the time the church needs to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. If not, we could lose a lot.
We are, and if the time frame is very short for us to get this turned around the right direction. The ordinance that y'all got into place, or y'all didn't, but the city got into place that y'all were fighting. Are you hoping that in the years to come, as you change the face of city council, you'll be able to
That is
repeal
part
that?
of our plan. And
Okay.
we're going to be watching the Houston election real closely to see how it goes.
Oh,
And,
okay.
we've learned some things. If we'd done a couple things a little bit better at the start, but since we were all rookies at this, we didn't
Oh,
know
sure.
better. We could have ridden on the coattails of the judge's order in Houston, but because we didn't get some things submitted on a timely basis. So part of this is learning.
Learning,
You know,
yeah.
and because there's no training grounds really for churches on how to do this, so it's a little messy at times and you make some mistakes. But anything in life that you want to accomplish, you're going to make mistakes along the way. You just recover from them and then get going forward. So our goal eventually is to see NDO overturned, because if not, it's going to be a great hit at religious freedoms and everything else.
Yeah, yeah, because as long as it's on the books, then it can be used in all kinds of ways against us and everything. What else exciting is going on?
Well, next week I'm going to Iowa again with Ted Cruz is having a religious freedom rally, and he's going to focal point several of the top couples who've had their lives destroyed over their view of marriage. So I'm fascinated to see what that's going to be like. I'm going with Sergeant Philip Monk and
Good.
his wife, and he'll be speaking next Friday. The Kleins Morgan will be speaking. Barry Nell Stutzman will be speaking. There's several others that will be joining in. Kelvin Cochran from Atlanta, the fire chief that was fired. And these are the people who've had lives ruined because of their faith in Christ.
Right.
But they've had a boldness about them. They're willing to stand no matter the cost. So I've had dinner with most of these people and spent time with them. They're amazing people. They really are. So I'll get one more chance to be around them, listen to their story, and I'm kind of excited about that possibility.
It's wonderful when we see people taking that stand. Out in San Angelo, we've got Molly Kreiner, Erie and County Clerk, the only one in the state of Texas who will not allow her office whatsoever to issue a same-sex marriage license. And so she is standing boldly. And so it's exciting to see that through other things that have happened, people are beginning to say, I can take a stand, I can do this.
Well, one of the things I've learned getting to know all these people, and having dinner with them, sitting down talking, spending more time than just a quick word or two. These are not people who suddenly got strong when they got hit. You were picking on the wrong people when they went after them.
That's
There
right.
were people who already had a deep faith in Christ Jesus. They were already living good and decent lives. They all had long track records of impeccable character and quality work. And when push came to shove and they got hit hard, they didn't buckle. They stood firm. But they've done that all of their lives. And the Lord's going to bless their efforts in the long run. It's been tough on them. Each one of them will tell you it's been a very difficult road. But they would not change it. As Philip Monk told me one day, I would not go back and rechange anything I've been through.
Wow.
It's been a lesson. He said, well, I've seen the Lord provide in the most amazing ways. So that's in the future. It's going to, some of these who may even hear this, you may be faced with this. We're not really too worried about pastors getting hit in the next year or two by things. We're more worried about our church members,
Yes,
because there's no laws protecting their religious freedoms. The pastors got their
that's a good
protection.
point.
But
Yes.
church members do not have protection at work, military, or anywhere else. So the fights want to fight need to continue on to get religious freedom protection to everybody, because right now the courts are not ruling in the favor of those who are out there that are not protected by specific laws.
And we have to be so careful in the wording so that it doesn't have a reverse effect that'll get us on the backside of ordinances like that as well.
Right.
One of the things that happened a couple of days here ago in San Antonio was the vandalism and destruction over at the Jewish synagogue. What are your thoughts on that?
It's again, it's another terrible thing that goes on within the country. We've got a lot of hate going on right now, and we're accusing the wrong groups of hate. But there's just a discontent, dissatisfaction with a lot going on. Again, that's why the church needs to be in prayer for revival, because there's always been groups like that that will try to hurt other groups, especially Jewish groups and others like that. We need to stand and support those who've been persecuted or been threatened, and that's where the church's job is to be, is at moments like that, to stand up and do that. I know several of the pastors in town who have the place to say something have spoken out against it and are helping in ways that need to be helped. So I'm glad to see that. And again, it's drawing community support across the community. And don't know who's behind it or anything else at this time, but the support's there, and we just need to be in prayer and move forward to try to make our community better. Because right now, these kind of groups, they seem to get the news, the focal points. It's not just in San Antonio, it's happening across the country. And a lot of it's being agitated by outside interest.
Yes.
And a lot of this has nothing to do with local. It's outside forces coming in to cause trouble and to get news.
Yeah.
So I hope the FBI and others who are involved will get this solved quickly, and then we can move on from there.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to having you back in San Angelo.
Yeah, yes.
And October the 8th, I believe, is our date. You'll be speaking at our Pastors and Patriots dinner for such a time as this. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your
I look
time
forward to
today.
it. All right, thank you.